There was one story a while ago where somebody had his Audi RS4 robbed at gunpoint, but it doesn't need to be at gunpoint. It just needs to be the right person. And it reminded me of an incident that I was indirectly involved in with a private seller. It doesn't have to be a high performance car that you're selling. You just have to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, at heart, I'm a bit of a hippie. When I was a kid, I often daydreamed that I'd move to California, become a professional surfer. And of course, in the 60s, then the only transport you could have if you were a surfer was a Volkswagen camper van. And I was going to buy one and park it right next to Jim Rockford's trailer in Paradise Cove, Malibu. I was going to drop out and I was going to live in it. I wasn't stupid, and I knew the money I'd saved up from my paper round wouldn't last forever in California. And I still had to learn how to surf. Until such times as I could do, I'd have to finance my lifestyle by helping Jim Rockford, to solve his trickier cases. Even with such meticulous planning, it never came to fruition. And it's now faded into a distant lottery win or plan B. A few years ago, I was asked by a dealer to underwrite a vehicle which would have enabled me to fulfil my childhood dream, albeit in Walton-le-Dale and not Beverly Hills. The VW camper van I was now valuing was the same colour as the one I'd envisaged in my mind's eye when I was a kid. The owner of the camper van had given quite a detailed and honest description of the vehicle and its history. Apparently it needed a little work to make it into a very nice example, which is what I wanted. I wanted a concourse example. I had no idea how much it was really worth, and it was a classic. Some of them were going for 20 grand in nice condition. So I asked my mate to ask the customer how much he wanted to do a deal there and then. That's the thing. No shopping around, no taking it to the next one and saying I've been bid so much. How much would you do a deal for right here, right now? What do you want? The answer was £4,000. My dealer friend said he could afford to give £500 out of the deal, so I'd need to give him £3,500 for the camper van and he could do the deal. I knew these vehicles could be money pits. I was a bit wary, but I really wanted one. So I said to my mate, you know, put my name on it. Put my name on it is dealer speak for handshake, you've got a deal. So as far as I was concerned, that vehicle was coming to me. I can't remember being as excited I was at that time buying that vehicle. It was a childhood dream come true. Always wanted one. Always. Still do. That's why I like the EV ID Buzz. I'd really like one of them. I was already planning my holiday, surfing down the Pacific Coast Highway to Malibu Beach, which I've done in a PT Cruiser, and I enjoyed that. But this was going to be in my camper van. I don't know how I was going to get it over there, but, you know, gone back to being a kid. Surfboard tied to the roof, and the Beach Boys Surfing USA blasting out over the Crackle-Master radio. Again, my life didn't turn out quite as planned, and that night the customer had second thoughts. He decided that he could get more money selling the camper privately. I really wanted it, so when I heard that the vehicle would no longer be coming, I increased my bid to £4,000. Now it wouldn't be worth the aggravation of him selling it privately. Unfortunately, eager to pick up his new BMW, he'd already placed the advert. That's when my dream turned into his nightmare. I would like to point out that I heard this story secondhand and am repeating it exactly as I heard it. Unlike my other blogs, I can't vouch for the accuracy of the events that were to unfold. But even so, let it be a warning to those of you who take it upon yourselves to sell your own vehicle from home. There's a lot of nasty people out there who want what you have, but they don't want to pay you for it or work hard to get it. I've had the same problem selling a Rolex, even worse than this. The The people who wanted to buy it threatened to murder me. You know, I feel for this guy. Anyway, two guys turned up to see the camper van. Having owned it for a long time, the seller related everything that had been done to the vehicle and everything that, to his knowledge, would possibly need doing. A deal was struck, he was paid cash, and the vehicle was driven away. Now, just taking the money is risky enough, especially cash. It's outside banking hours, you need to keep the money in your house overnight. The people know you're going to be taking it to the bank probably first thing in the morning, and you're going to be vulnerable. You're going to be vulnerable getting in your car, you're going to be vulnerable getting out your car on the way to the bank. Lots of counterfeit cash going about. There's just no end of downsides to taking cash for a car off strangers if you're not used to it. I mean, we have a cash counter, and I'm not kidding, the amount of counterfeit notes that turn up, it's just unbelievable. You know, it'd be an easy target to anybody, friends of these people who've just bought it, and when I say friends, I mean co-conspirators. Clout over the head, you've lost your camper van, you've lost your money, you're left with nothing. Now, luckily for him, none of the above happened, and he didn't lose a lot, but he was about to learn a very expensive lesson. The new buyer phoned him before he'd had chance to go to the bank and complained that the camper van needed a lot more work than he'd let on. They wanted a refund of £2,000 to pay for rectification. The seller told them that it was no problem to return it, that he knew a trader who'd pay him the asking price, and he'd just give them the money back. He'd still got it in the house. But the buyers were the problem. They had an ulterior motive. And here's where the story takes a turn for the worse. They didn't want the money back. They wanted to keep the camper van, but they insisted that the seller give them £2,000 back. The seller was a gentleman. Never having been exposed to the seedier side of car dealing, he was rather slow to catch on. But he caught on rather quickly when the phone caller said, "You're buying a new BMW, aren't you? I bet it'd be really expensive to repair if anything happened to it." The seller put the phone down, contacted the police, and he was told that there wasn't really a lot that they could do, as he hadn't actually been directly threatened. There were no witnesses. So, fearing for his family's safety and what would happen to his new car if he didn't submit to the buyer's demands, he arranged to meet them on a car park and handed over the cash. In the end, he let his vehicle go for £2,000 less than I or probably any other trader would have given him. I can only speculate who the buyers were. It's possible that they could have wanted to launder some money, or perhaps they were unscrupulous car dealers. There are some, not me, I hasten to add, who are now the proud new owners of the world's cheapest camper van. They also had the original purchase invoice for £4,500 to put through their books and £2,000 of untraceable, untaxable, unvatable cash. They also had a vehicle which, if marketed correctly, could go on to make them at least another couple of grand's legitimate profit. The moral of the story? Well, all I can say is, for sure, the previous owner of the camper van will never ever sell another car privately. What about you? Do you want to sell a car privately? In the immortal words of Clint Eastwood, do you feel lucky? Or are you going to be the next to make some criminal's day? Thanks for watching. First episode of Barrie Crampton's vlog. Life's hard and then you die. See you in the next one. Bye bye.